Hi you guys, it's Amanda with Healthy House on the Block, and I'm here with another weekly video on creating an indoor space that really supports your health and wellness. This week we are going to be talking about plumbing pipes in your healthy house and what plumbing pipes are going to leach the least amount of toxins into your drinking water. Now, this is a topic that obviously has changed over time because our plumbing in our homes has changed so much over the last 100 years. So we're going to break down what you can do if you have a home with older pipes, and if you're going to be replacing pipes, what a good option is. Now, if you're someone who likes to read the blog post or take a look at any links that I have in the post, head to the post for the week. It is linked at the bottom of this week's video description. Otherwise, what I'll be doing is taking you through a series of slides, and it breaks down this week's blog post into bite-sized chunks in a video format, and it goes start to finish from the blog post, so you could actually follow along if you wanted. So let's get going. So water is such an important part of a healthy house. If you start to really pay attention to just how much water we use in a day, I guarantee you'll be so surprised. The biggest concern for most water is the water that we drink because we're consuming it and allowing it into our bodies, but we're also bathing in water, where warmth opens up our pores and allows more toxins to penetrate our skin barrier. And the plumbing pipes that carry our water to our homes can leach toxins into our water. Plumbing pipes have changed drastically over a time. And spoiler alert, there are no 100% toxin-free options still. There are good options and low toxin options. And sometimes as consumers and healthy house owners, that's just the best we can do. I'm really big on the idea that low toxin is still a good option. The best way to go about this is to choose the lowest toxin option that will work for your family and then decide not to worry about it. The silver lining here is that you can get a really high quality water filter system to take your plumbing from low toxin to really low toxin. But even so, if you're going to do a repipe or you're building a new home or putting in new plumbing, you might as well start from the least toxic space when it comes to your plumbing pipes. So the plumbing pipes that we'll be talking about are just for what we call supply piping. Supply piping carries water from your main water supply in your home and branches throughout your home, carrying water to each plumbing fixture, appliance, and faucet. The reason that it's so important to pay attention to this type of plumbing is because this is where we consume water, which is where we can expose ourselves to a number of toxins. So just a side note, I don't necessarily care what the materials for drain, waste, or vent piping is, simply due to the fact that the materials generally don't off-gas and nothing is being consumed through the piping. These are the pipes that carry water away from your house, from your drains, and the pipes that connect to plumbing vents, which allow air inside your pipes. Back to supply piping, they'll be connected together where turns are necessary, and these connectors are often in the form of fittings or elbows. And it's just as important to pay attention to the material of these fittings as it is to look at the piping itself, which we're going to talk about coming up here. So let's look at the types of plumbing that are in a home. CPVC pipes, they're chlorinated polyvinyl chloride. It's usually like a cream colored or off-white plastic tube. It can be used for both hot or cold water. Most CPVC pipes last for like 50 to 80 years, so you might see them in your house. It isn't used as widely as PEX pipes are because they're more rigid and it's more work to install them. However, it is similar to PEX in the sense that it doesn't corrode and it can withstand really high temperatures. A study conducted out of UC Berkeley found that there are actually more chemicals and toxins being leached out of CPVC pipes, such as chloroform, acetone. If your home has CPVC pipes, make sure you're using a high quality reverse osmosis water filter with carbon to reduce the chemicals that would leach into your water from these pipes. Copper is probably the most common piping that runs throughout homes for both hot and cold water. Copper thins out as it ages, and eventually you may see pinhole leaks. There are also various thicknesses of copper, which will be labeled on the pipe as M, L, or K, M being the thinnest. Copper is considered environmentally friendly because it can be recycled, but it's generally one of the most expensive plumbing options. Copper pipes are not 100% toxin free. They leach heavy metals into your water, and they tend to allow more bacteria with mycotoxins into your water. Many times the problem with copper is the solder fittings, the solder and the fittings, which can contain trace amounts of lead. PEX piping is a newer alternative. It's polyethylene pipes. They're becoming kind of the new standard in homes. It's used for not only supply water for your drinking water coming in, but also for hydronic heating systems such as in-floor heat. It's much less expensive than any other plumbing pipe material, and because it is a flexible pipe, it is often much easier to install. So plumbers need fewer fittings and joints to run piping through a space. PEX pipes cannot be used outside, however, as they break down under UV rays, and it reduces the ability to withstand chlorine. So while PEX pipes do leach chemicals into the water, it appears that this drops off significantly after about 30 days of use. So PEX pipes are free from BPA and other bisphenol substitutes such as BPS. And finally, galvanized steel or iron. So you may see this type of plumbing pipe if you live in an older home like before 1970. Often the galvanized pipe is treated with a zinc coating that keeps the water from corroding the pipe. Galvanized piping will last 40 to 50 years with no issues, but builders have discontinued using it just due to the labor and time it takes to install it. So it would be really difficult to find a plumber and materials to install new galvanized steel piping, but you may have older water pipes made of this material in your home. Sometimes homeowners actually have a hard time telling the difference between lead pipes and galvanized steel or iron. So in my experience, most lead piping that I have seen in homes is at drains. However, it is possible to have lead pipes in old homes for water supply piping. And here's a few telltale signs. Lead pipes are dull, grayish metal pipes. They have no sheen. If you scratch it with a key or something else that's metal, it's going to leave a shiny groove, and that will tell you that that could potentially be a lead pipe. Fittings on copper pipes are probably the most concerning as they are made from copper and brass. Even lead-free brass fittings can have trace amounts of lead in them, as this has not been regulated until more recently. Two options for third-party certified solders that we're going to talk about are Canfield solder and Cap-Zap solder. So if you are looking for a solder that is going to be free from lead, that is going to be what you want. So is PEX toxin free? It's not, but that doesn't mean that you have to completely avoid it. There are a few things you can do to make PEX piping healthier for your home. So first, look for PEX pipes that meet the NSF ANSI 61 standards. This will ensure that you have fewer chemicals leaching into your water. You want to flush your water system after PEX pipes are first installed, and if you can help it, avoid drinking the water that runs through it for about 30 days. Third, filter your water. Use a high-quality reverse osmosis system that has carbon filters. And then finally, avoid drinking warm water from unfiltered tap water. So does this mean that copper is the best solution? Probably. Copper, while more expensive, will leach fewer chemicals into your drinking water. And that being said, there are some precautions I would still recommend you take when it comes to installing copper pipes in your home. So use a thicker copper pipe like type L. This is made to withstand abrasion or corrosion. Use a healthier solder to connect your pipes and fittings. Like I mentioned before, Canfield solder is 100% water safe and free from heavy metals like zinc, arsenic, cadmium, and nickel. You want to make sure that your fittings comply with that same standard that we talked about before. Don't turn your water heater temperature down too low. This will allow bacteria to grow in your pipes. And then finally, filter your water with a high quality reverse osmosis system that has carbon filters. And here are a few of the affordable high quality filters. I have them linked on the blog this week, and I go through each one so you can figure out what's going to be best for your home. You know, there really is no 100% completely toxin and risk-free plumbing pipe option. And this means that this is an instance where you'll just choose a low toxin option. If you're building a new home or you're repiping a portion of your current home, it's important to not only weigh this information with the information from a local plumbing professional. There can be nuances in different regions and areas that may play a big role in the health of your home and plumbing. I'm so thankful you're here, and I'm so thankful that you are on this healthy house journey to creating an indoor space that supports your health and your wellness. If you have any questions or comments along the way, please feel free to leave a comment here or send me a message. Otherwise, I'll be back here next week with another healthy house tip.